Hi folks, I'm trying something different here. You see I've got my little Hawkins 1.5 liter pressure cooker sitting here on this little canister stove, or whatever you call it. I'm sure you've had the Mountain House dehydrated meals and that sort of thing. You know, they have their place. They're kind of pricey. So I'm trying something different that's similar but different. This is Bear Creek Country Kitchen's chicken noodle flavored, or chicken flavored soup mix. Flavorful chicken broth loaded with egg noodles and veggies tastes just like homemade. The super hearty mix. Says it makes a half gallon. 8 servings. And 1 serving is a 1/4 cup dry, 1 cup prepared. 110 calories. I don't think 110 calories is a meal. So this isn't going, it says it's family size, but you're not going to feed a family of 8. Where one of those Mountain House meals, you can get full on those. You aren't going to feed 8 people with this. The Mountain House meals will say they're 1 or 2 servings. I don't recall seeing one that ever said it was feed 8 people. But those things are expensive. Now what I've done is I took this and divided it into 4 little Ziploc packets. It's a little breezy today. And I brought one of the Ziploc packets with me. And it says, this one says bring 8 cups of water to a rolling boil. So 1 cup of water per serving is what that amounts to. And I've got 2 servings in there, and I didn't put a full cup of water. I put about 1.5 cups because I've added a can of this white premium chunk chicken breast. It's Swanson, and it's 4.5 ounces. It's pretty cheap. This right here is pretty cheap too. Between the 2 of these packages, it was far less than one of those Mountain House meals. But it says bring 8 cups of water to a rolling boil, whisk in the soup mix, and then reduce heat to medium and simmer uncovered for 10 minutes. Salt and pepper to taste. I'm not going to cook it for 10 minutes. That's the point of a pressure cooker. Now, the instructions on these Indian pressure cookers said you want to listen for the whistle. And it's started to boil a little bit because I can hear it hissing a bit. It's going to go psh, and that's a whistle. And then the old recipes, you count the number of whistles, and the recipe will have how many whistles it should be before it's done. And I don't know how many whistles on that. I'm going to get back a little bit because when it goes off, it does go off. It shoots steam everywhere. And I'm kind of in the danger zone, so I'm going to back up. Now I'm thinking this won't take, once it whistles, it's not going to take more than a minute or 2 to cook, but we'll find out. And once it whistles, you can turn the fuel down. So this is a fuel savings. Let me show you something else here while I've got you. This is that little leveling thing that I showed you. I like my stoves to be level. See how tall that one is against the table? And see back down there, it's almost on the table. This thing's out of whack by, oh, at least an inch. So I've got it leveled up. I'll leave you up there. I'm tired of squatting down now. The wind is shifting around a little bit, and that's not good for cooking. But this little pressure cooker should save me some fuel, because it should cook a whole lot faster than any other just open boiling. I'm going to tend to my trash here. I'm in National Forest. Right over yonder is the end of the road. The road goes on up, and you can walk on up if you feel like it. And if you go on up there, there's the turnaround for Church Rock. And I can tell you from experience, hiking from that point up to Church Rock is pretty aggressive. But the only time they seem to open that is during deer season. Otherwise, you have to walk in. In deer season, you can drive all the way in. My little trash bag is trying to go away. Now this thing leaks. It'll seal up in a bit. It don't matter, it leaks a little bit. Where that thing that goes up and down, where it connects to the lid, it leaks around that a little bit. It would probably come up to pressure just a little bit quicker if it didn't leak. But I've used this thing quite a bit now. I use it a lot at home too. It smells good. If you're going to divide one of those packages up, you got to be careful, because you got noodles, and there are a couple of vegetables in there, a couple of dehydrated vegetables, and lots of powder. And you could very easily get all of your noodles in one serving, or one little bag, and all the soup powder in another one. You could do that if you wanted to. So I tried to divide them up. It says it's chicken flavored. What's that mean? Either it's got chicken in it or it doesn't. I suppose it's got that chicken. That yellow powder may be chicken bouillon, or some part of it anyway. It's got eggs, milk, and wheat. Everything's got wheat in it. Or just about everything. I thought it would have gone off by now. Apparently the wind, even with my windbreak there, this little wind screen, it's cooling it off a bit. Now I'm not seeing the little bubbles around the connector. There's some off on the back side, but not where I can see it. That usually means it's getting up to pressure, because I think it has to pressurize a little bit to even seal properly. The main seal is a rubber O-ring around the lid. I'm looking to see if my camera tells me how long I've been filming, because that's about how long. 9 minutes and almost 10 minutes now. There it goes. Now, I'm going to wait about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the fire off. Now, they say to turn the fire down. So I turned it down about halfway. In the recipe books, they say that if you turn it down too far and it doesn't whistle anymore, that's okay as long as you've got experience with it and know that you've got pressure and know that it's going to cook okay. Otherwise, you need to have it whistle every now and then. And I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, so I like to have it whistle at least once a minute or so. And on my stove at home, I can turn the fire. Once I get this for that first whistle, I've got a little simmer burner, yeah, see, I can hear the wind blowing it. But I've got a little simmer burner about that big. I've got a gas stove at home. It's about that big. It's for sauce and things like that. And that's plenty. I can even turn that way down. And this will still whistle every now and then. With this wind, it may not whistle again. It's kind of acting like it wants to, but it hasn't yet. Fun stuff. I like doing this kind of stuff. It's like getting out. It's a nice day. It's early March and supposed to be up into the low 60s today. I don't think it's quite there yet, but almost. It's making little ticking sounds. I turned the fire up just a little bit. I like this little stove. It's convenient. It's self-igniting. You just turn the knob and it lights itself up. And it's very stable. Especially whenever I put it on that little leveling thing. How long have I been? Is that 2 minutes yet? 13. I'm going to call that good. Now on this one, when you turn the knob all the way off, it pops the fuel canister loose. Guess I could take that out now. See, there's my fuel canister. Feels like it's about half full. I've cooked on it a few times. Now it's still hissing. I need to wait until it stops hissing. Or not. If you don't want to wait, and it depends on the recipe. If you're following a recipe, you do what the recipe tells you. But if you don't want to wait, and the recipe says you can do it quickly, if you're cooking a vegetable, you don't want to cook it very long. But you can take a fork, and there's a little thing up on top. Let me show you that. See that little thing right there? That's there so you can put a fork in there and lift it up and blow out all the steam at once, and then you can open it. I can't open it right now because it's pressurized. But since it's pressurized, it's still cooking. So that's part of it. You can turn the fire off and it will continue to cook for a minute or two. If you got one of those Instant Pots or a big fancy pressure cooker, those things, they don't leak so much as this one does. So they're also a lot bigger. They'll hold the heat for a long time. They'll cook for a long time after you turn the fire off. This doesn't do that too long. But I'm thinking this might be a lot more economical than those Mountain House type of meals. Plus I dumped a can of chicken into it. And they make a few flavors, and I don't know how many flavors. I haven't investigated that far. I got some chili and chicken, and they've got a stew, a beef stew, I think. This is chicken noodle. I got the chili one, but it doesn't seem to have any meat in it whatsoever. And it might even say it's vegan. So that should make some people happy. I usually try to avoid those kind of things, because I want some meat in it. And I didn't find any canned beef. I think I've got some. I may have some at home, but they're bigger cans. They're like for feeding a couple of people. And this was more of a personal size. I got one, it's got little ham bits in it too. We're talking close to potted meat. I don't know if you've ever had potted meat before. I tried it once, and I actually offered it to my little dog once, and she turned her nose up at it. So I guess it has its place in cooking, but I haven't found it yet for those little potted meats. You open one up, and it's very similar to cat food. I think that might be my dog thought it was cat food. She's adamant about not wanting any sort of cat food whatsoever. It's almost done. I'm going to take my spoon. I don't have a fork handy. Hear that? Now, that's making a little bit of a mess. I've got a lot of stuff in there, apparently. You're not supposed to fill these more than 2/3 full. And there's a term they use. Okay, it's depressured now. Let me show you how to open it. See here? It's got this little thing that holds the handle closed. And then the lid sticks down inside. You turn the lid 90 degrees, and it'll come right out. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I'm scraping the bottom of my pan a little bit. Probably that chicken meat might have cooked onto the pan a little bit. These are pretty easy to clean. This is anodized aluminum, I guess. Now, I left my salt and pepper in the truck, so I'm just going to make sure it's cooked. Oh my. It's ready to eat, but it's hot, and I've got a temperature sensitive place on my... I had some dental surgery about a week ago. This is better than those backpacking meals, I can tell you that. I think having the canned chicken makes a difference, but it does need some salt and pepper, or a little bit. So I'm going to end this video now, and I would say this is a success. If you take one of those packages, one of these things, you can find these in the grocery store, Wally World, that place, those kind of places. I would say that, well, I put 1.5 cups of water in it and a can of that soup, so it's probably about 2 cups of soup. And this is going to be a nice meal. If I was going to have it for dinner instead of lunch, even for lunch. I think I'd want a couple crackers, but I didn't bring any crackers with me. Go good with some garlic bread. That would be really good. But it's good as it is. It's okay. I recommend this.